Buddha.
Uploading several files of child pornography on his Google account. That is according to jail records. 37-year-old Jonathan Ryan Nicholas was charged with 5 counts of possession of child pornography. An arrest warrant affidavit states that the investigation into Nicholas started in March of 2021. And that's when the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children's CyberTipline received reports about a Google user uploading multiple files of child porn. The Office of the Attorney General of Texas investigated the reports. Nicholas was eventually identified as the suspected user of the account.
All right, court is calling 2018 CR 3520W, State of Texas versus Jonathan Ryan Nicholas. Now, parties announced for the record for the state.
Denise Harrison from the State of Texas, Your Honor.
Defense.
Alex Shar from Mr. Nicholas.
And are you Mr. Nicholas?
Yes, Your Honor.
And in the box, I'm gonna need to, excuse me, in the box, you all need to move down on that end if you're gonna confer. All right, Mr. Nicholas, I'm gonna show you what's entitled Motion to Enter Adjudication of Guilt and Revoke Community Supervision and State's motion to supplement pending motion to enter adjudication of guilt and revoke community supervision. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you the same Jonathan Ryan Nicholas who was placed on deferred adjudication in 2018 CR 3520W for the offense of online solicitation of a minor meet with intention for sexual conduct on April 4th, 2018 for a period of 5 years? Is that you?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, State.
Yes, Your Honor. State will be waiving and abandoning the new number 1s and proceeding on the remainders. Violating condition number 15A, on or about the 6th day of December 2022 in Bexar County, Texas, the defendant, Jonathan Ryan Nichols, failed to comply with instructions of his court-ordered sex offender treatment program, and that the defendant failed to progress towards reasonable treatment goals in violation of condition number 15A.
How do you plead to that? True or not true?
True.
State.
Violated condition number 15I, on or about the 6th day of December 2022 in Bexar County, Texas, the defendant, Jonathan Ryan Nicholas, did then and there fail to comply with instructions of the Bexar County Community Supervision and Corrections Department Sex Offender Program, and that the defendant possessed an unmonitored smartphone in violation of condition number 15I.
How do you plead to that? True or not true?
True.
Violated condition number 15I, on or about the 6th day of December 2022 in Bexar County, Texas, the defendant, Jonathan Ryan Nicholas, did then and there fail to comply with instructions of the Bexar County Community Supervision and Corrections Department Sex Offender Program, and that the defendant possessed an unmonitored smartphone in violation of condition number 15I.
How do you plead to that? True or not true?
True.
Violated condition number 15L, on or about the 26th day of March 2021 in Bexar County, Texas, the defendant, Jonathan Ryan Nicholas, did then and there fail to comply with instructions of the Bexar County Community Supervision and Corrections Department Sex Offender Program, and that the defendant used an alias or fictitious name, namely Honey Badger, in violation of condition number 15L.
How do you plead to that? True or not true?
True.
Violating number 16, on or about the 6th day of December 2022 in Bexar County, Texas, the defendant, Jonathan Ryan Nicholas, failed to comply with the instructions of his court-ordered sex offender treatment program, and that the defendant failed to progress toward reasonable treatment goals in violation of condition number 16.
How do you plead to that? True or not true?
True.
Violated condition number 18, on or about the 26th day of March 2021 in Bexar County, Texas, the defendant, Jonathan Ryan Nicholas, did then and there fail to report an alias Honey Badger to their appropriate law enforcement agency and failed to register said alias with that agency pursuant to Texas Chapter 62 in violation of condition number 16.
How do you plead to that?
True.
Just one moment. Is it a violation of 16 or 18? Because that's listed as condition number 18, and then it states a violation of condition number 16. Yes. Oh, we're off the record. Bashan, do you see what I'm speaking about?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so we're back on the record. State, is there a motion?
On this, Your Honor, yes, the state, the motion is to change, number 16 in violation of condition number 18 to the number 18.
All right, is there any objection to that from the defense?
You see where it is? This is
Oh, I see.
18.
No objection.
All right, Mr. Nicholas, do you understand that in the document, the condition is listed as a violation of condition number 18, and the state is alleging that you violated condition number 18. Do you understand?
Strong.
All right, with regards to that allegation, then how do you plead to violation of condition number 18? True or not true?
True.
All right, state.
On the supplemental dated March 27, 2023, violating condition number 15JA on or about the second day of March 2023 in Bexar County, Texas. The defendant, Jonathan Ryan Nicholas, did then and there fail to comply with instructions of the Bexar County Community Supervision and Corrections Department sex offender program, and that the defendant possessed an unauthorized, unmonitored Xperia smartphone with the required internet monitoring service provider, remote COM, in violation of condition number 15JA.
And that is without the required instead of with the required?
Yes, with the required internet monitoring service, yes, Your Honor.
No, without the required. That's how it reads.
Failed to comply.
Without the required. It should be with the required, Your Honor. I would do a motion to change without to with.
Any objections?
No, Judge.
All right, Mr. Nicholas, do you understand the state's changing of 15JA, changing the word without to with is a substantive change? Do you understand that?
That's wrong.
Do you understand your counsel has 10 days to prepare to answer for 15JA since the state has made a substantive change? Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Knowing that, do you still wish to proceed with the violation of 15JA?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, with regards to 15JA, how do you plead, true or not true?
True.
All right, state.
On or about the second day of March 2023 in Bexar County, Texas, the defendant, Jonathan Ryan Nicholas, did then and there fail to comply with instructions of the Bexar County Community Supervision and Corrections Department sex offender program, and that the defendant possessed an unauthorized, unmonitored Dell notebook tablet without a required internet monitoring service provider remote COM in violation of condition number 15A. This spoke to probation. It should actually be with the without because it's supposed to have it on it.
Yes, so if you want to start over reading with 15JA, the first one, please.
Yes. Yes. The first on 15JA, violated condition number 15JA on or about the second day of March 2023 in Bexar County, Texas. The defendant, Jonathan Ryan Nicholas, did then and there fail to comply with instructions of the Bexar County Community Supervision and Corrections Department sex offender program, and that the defendant possessed an unauthorized, unmonitored Xperia smartphone without the required internet monitoring service provider remote COM in violation of condition number 15JA.
How do you plead to that, true or not true?
True.
State.
Violate condition number 15JA on or about the second day of March 2023 in Bexar County, Texas. The defendant, Jonathan Ryan Nicholas, did then and there fail to comply with the instructions of the Bexar County Community Supervision and Corrections Department sex offender program, and that the defendant possessed an unauthorized, unmonitored Dell notebook tablet without the required internet monitoring service provider remote COM in violation of condition number 15.
How do you plead to that, true or not true?
True.
State.
Yes, Your Honor.
The other allegations, do you waive those allegations?
Yes, the state waives the remaining allegations, Your Honor.
Any objections?
No objection.
Mr. Nicholas, did you understand by pleading true to violations 15A, 15I, 15I, 15L, 16, 18, 15JA and 15JA. The court could find it true, grant the motion, and sentence you up to 20 years in prison and up to $10,000 fine.
Yes, Your Honor.
Knowing that, do you still wish to plead true to violations 15A, 15I, 15I, 15L, 16, 18, 15JA, and 15JA?
Yes, Your Honor.
The court will find 15A, 15I, 15I, 15L, 16, 18, 15JA, and 15JA true. Is there an agreement?
No, Your Honor, the defendant is pleading open to the court, so the state does have punishment witnesses.
All right, state, call your first witness.
The state calls Sergeant Stephen O'Neill.
Judge, one second.
Yes.
There was a misunderstanding on my part. I don't want to put it on the ADA. My belief when we talked last week is that we were going to do everything all together. We're going to do the motion to enter adjudication of guilt. And then there's some other cases out there. I have an expert who's not available today.
I mean, this is proceeding today. You all were set for a contested hearing today. So counsel, if you want to get your expert witness here, you can call your expert witness, tell them to come down. But this is set for a contested hearing today. So it's proceeding today. It will be finished today.
Okay, well, there's never been a pre-sentence investigation report done on this case. And so I think we're entitled to a pre-sentence
No,
investigation
we're here
report.
today we're here for the court to make a ruling on whether or not he violated conditions of his probation. He's just pled true to them. Judge Angelini set this for a contested today. So both parties came in and said that you were entering a plea of true. So this case is going to be resolved today. Now, counsel, if you want to have your witness by Zoom, you're more than welcome to have them by Zoom, but this case is getting resolved today. It's set for contested hearing today. You all decided you didn't want to have a contested hearing, that he wanted to enter his pleas of true today. The court has accepted his pleas of true. The court has found the certain conditions true based upon his plea of true. So we are proceeding.
You want to call your witness to see if they can do it via Zoom?
She also needs to get money. I have to pay her $1,000.
All right, this is what I can tell you all is this is happening today.
Okay. So do I need to fill out a motion for continuance?
Oh, you can fill out a motion for continuance. The court will hear your motion.
Okay. May I have a second to write one in? All right, thanks.
Motions for continuance, yes. All right, who's here on Pete Garcia? Court is calling 2018 CR 3520W, State of Texas versus Jonathan Nicholas. All right, could I have parties announced for the record?
Denise Harrison for the state of Texas, Your Honor.
Defense?
Sharp for Jonathan Nicholas.
All right, defendant enter pleas of true. The court found the pleas of true. True? All right. And defense, I think you filed a motion for continuance.
Yes, Judge, I did file a motion for continuance. I would like to withdraw that this time.
All right. Then any objections to the withdrawal of the motion for continuance?
None from the state, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Then the motion for continuance is withdrawn. State, do you have witnesses?
Yes, Your Honor, 3 witnesses.
We invoked the rule.
All right, the rule isn't invoked. So if you're going to testify, you'll need to wait outside. State, call your first witness.
Thank you. State calls Sergeant Stephen O'Neill.
Oh, I forgot. Do you want the little iPad? Yeah, here you go. They're doing paperwork. You're our deputy. That's like, there you go. Do you have oh, that's good. Oh, don't have a seat. And to the clerk, do you know where that file is? Okay, all right, thank you.
Judge, one little housekeeping. I do have a computer here with a disk. for your privy and your view, which is regarding certain evidence. Where would you like for me to put it?
Oh, is it something that is sensitive?
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, just whenever you're ready, submit it. And if they have no objection, you can just bring it forward and the court will look
Okay.
at it. All right, could you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
What am I do?
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Steve O'Neill,
All right. State.
Neal.
You may proceed.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. Sergeant O'Neill, who do you currently work for?
I'm assigned to the Child Exploitation Unit of the Office of the Attorney General for the state of Texas.
And what are your duties with the Attorney General's office?
I investigate crimes involving child exploitation and the exploitation of minors.
And how long have you been in law enforcement?
I've been in law enforcement for approximately 24 years.
And how long have you been doing child cases?
I've been assigned with the Attorney General's office for the past 3 years.
3 years. And regarding the child cases, with your training experience, are you able to tell when it comes to child pornography, if a child's prepubescent or post-pubescent
Yes,
with your training experience?
yes, ma'am.
You heard earlier the defendant Jonathan Nichols plead true to having a cell phone and plead true to using the name Honey Badger. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and let's start with the name Honey Badger. Did you receive tips, cyber tips regarding the name Honey Badger?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you please explain to the court how do you receive cyber tips?
A service provider in this particular incident, Google, had reported 5 cyber tip reports to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Those reports were found to be under the purview of the Office of the Attorney General of Texas, and they were sent to us, which were then funneled down to myself to investigate those cases.
And how do you start the investigation?
Upon reviewing the report, I will then ascertain if there's any type of identifying information inside said report, which in this case, there was internet protocol or IP addresses that I was able to send subpoena on for subscriber information.
And with the cyber tip, on the cyber tip, does it give you names like screen name or in this case, a Google name?
Yes, there was a username, I believe, and then email addresses.
Okay. And what was the username?
Honey Badger.
And after you sent out the subscriber information, what did you do next in your investigation?
After I received results from AT&T in reference to subscriber information, it returned to an address in San Antonio. The address was 13506 Owl Tree. I researched whom would live at that address.
And who lived at that address?
My crime analyst, Landra Polanski, had returned information to me that identified Baltazar Luby, a Martha Nicholas, and a Jonathan Nicholas residing at that address.
And with your investigation, did you investigate these 3 individuals?
Yes, ma'am.
And through your investigation, what did you find?
Through information I obtained through a search warrant submitted to Google, upon viewing photographs and videos in the Google account, I was also able to identify Jonathan Nicholas as the owner of that account based on his driver's license photograph provided to me by my crime analyst and based on the images and pictures I found in the Google account belonging to Honey Badger.
And just a brief description, what kind of images did you find in this Google account?
There were some self-made videos of Mr. Nicholas. There were images of his driver's license in there. I believe there was images of his medications.
Any other information?
There were additional images of child pornography located in that account as well.
Do you remember how many images?
I don't recall the exact amount of images that was in the Google account. I know we described one in my narrative for reporting purposes.
And after you received the information for the Google account, what did you do next in your investigation?
We conducted surveillance at the residence and identified vehicles parked there that belonged to Martha Nicholas and Luby Baltazar.
And after you did surveillance of the residence, did you obtain a search warrant and an arrest warrant?
Yes, ma'am. At that time, we realized that learned that Mr. Nicholas is a registered sex offender.
Your Honor, this witness can testify to his own personal knowledge and not say we. And
All
stick
right.
to what he personally
What's
did.
your legal objection, counsel?
Your Honor, he can testify to his personal knowledge because he was there.
My question is, what is your legal objection?
Legal objection.
I'm sorry, is your microphone turned?
There's Martha.
Right there.
Is it green?
It's green.
Sorry.
Will
My
you pull it
legal
over?
objection.
Well, will you pull it over to?
This-
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
My legal objection is that a witness.
Is it hearsay? Is that your objection?
Say, denies the
Sustained.
right to confront the witness.
All right. Ask your next question.
With your personal knowledge, did you obtain this a search warrant and an arrest warrant?
After I conducted my surveillance and the information I obtained during my investigation, I contacted Oscar Salinas, who's an assistant district attorney with Bexar County, and reviewed the information with him in reference to Mr. Nicholas being a registered sex offender and the information contained in the CyberTip reports of the child pornography that he had uploaded to his Google account. And it was agreed that arrest warrants would be obtained for Mr. Nicholas and also a search warrant for his residence.
And do you remember what day you you went and searched the house?
I believe, if memory serves, it was December 6th.
And can you please tell the court what happened on that day?
Once the team arrived at the residence, I observed an individual I recognized to be Martha Nicholas at the back door of the residence. I identified myself to her, informed her that we had a search warrant to search the residence. I asked her if Jonathan was at home. She told me that he was at home and he was inside. Prior to the team making entry into the residence, there was a dog that seemed somewhat vicious. We allowed Mrs. Nichols to obtain control of that dog and asked Jonathan to step outside, which he complied.
How long did it take for Jonathan to come outside when he after you had contact with the mother?
There was approximately about a 3 to 4 minute window of her going back in the house and then him coming outside.
And after he came outside, did you have contact with him?
I did.
Did you read him his rights?
I informed him of our reason for being at the residence. I asked him if he would like to speak with me. He indicated that he would. I escorted him to my vehicle where I have set up to do a recorded interview. Once we got into the vehicle, I advised him of his Miranda rights, to which he stated that he understood and waived them to continue speaking with me.
And during that conversation, did you ask him if he had a phone?
I did. Initially on the porch, I asked him if he had a cell phone. He told me he didn't. And then I reiterated to him in the vehicle again to explain to me he didn't have a cell phone.
Okay. There was nothing substantive from his interview with you, was there?
Nothing other than denial.
After the interview with the defendant, what did you do next?
After I interviewed Mr. Nicholas, I went back and asked Mrs. Nicholas if he had a phone. She instructed that she does not aware that he has a phone. I went inside and met with my team that was conducting the search. They informed me that through searching through his stuff, they
Objection,
had,
hearsay, denies the
Sustained.
right to confront the witnesses.
During the initial search, are you aware if there was a phone found?
I was aware that we found a phone.
And how did you go about finding the phone?
I recalled during a conversation that was found in Mr. Nicholas's Google account that he had texted a phone number to an individual. That number also matched a phone number that he had listed for himself on his Texas driver's license application. I entered the residence. I instructed everyone inside the residence to hold the noise down. I called the phone number and I heard a phone buzzing.
And when you heard the phone buzzing, were you able to locate it?
I was able to locate the phone.
And can you please explain to the judge where the phone was?
The phone was located in a small desk drawer just inside the master bedroom.
And after you found the phone, did you call it again to verify?
I did. I called the number again and noted that my phone number was showing up on the screen of that phone as the one calling in.
Did you retrieve that phone for evidence?
I did.
And what did you end up doing with that phone?
That phone was able to be unlocked on scene. At that time, we would usually, the investigators would conduct an on-site preview. Whatever, go ahead.
Okay, and are you the one who conducted the on-site preview?
I was not.
Okay, and who conducted the on-site preview?
Sergeant Hillary Lyon. Lyon. Yes, ma'am.
And then after they that you're aware they did an online preview of the phone, what did you do next with the phone?
The phone was then logged into evidence on an inventory sheet, and then I secured all evidence and transported that evidence back to the Georgetown Police Department to be secured in temporary evidence lockers there.
Okay. Are you aware if there was a phone a forensic download of the phone?
Yes.
And who conducted that?
Sergeant Barry Greer with the Attorney General's office.
And on scene, what did you do next after you found the phone on scene?
After the phone was located and turned over for processing, I explained to Mr. Nicholas that there were warrants issued for his arrest and he would be taken into custody, and I transported him to the Bexar County Jail.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
Yes.
I'm handing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 1.
You already marked it?
Yes, I have. Please, explain to me what you're looking at.
This is a disc that contains the cyber tips that were involved in this case.
Okay. And did you have a chance to look at it?
I have.
And are those true and accurate to the cyber tips that you received?
Yes, ma'am.
Has it been altered in any way?
No, ma'am.
And did you put your badge number and date it to verify that you looked at this disc?
Yes, ma'am.
May I take this witness on a brief vote diary, Your Honor?
Yes.
Sergeant, good afternoon. All right, so did you personally create State's Exhibit number 1?
No, I did not, sir.
Okay. Who did, if you know?
I do not know.
Okay. Have you ever seen what's on it, on that particular exhibit?
Yes, sir. I viewed it
Okay. When?
this morning.
Okay. And so you're relying on another person that works in your office that made that disc, and you're basically vouching for it, that contains cyber tips. Is that correct?
No, sir. I'm not aware of who made that disc.
Okay.
I know that disc contains the cyber tips included in the case
Okay. How do you know that?
because I viewed them this morning.
Okay. And what is a cyber tip?
A cyber tip is a report made by an internet service provider, as in this case it was Google, to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children when questionable files of child exploitation or child sexual abuse material is found in their servers. They report that to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, at which time, once that report comes in, NCMEC is the acronym, they create a report. And then based on the IP address, they find out the location in the nation where this is occurring, and they send that to the agency in charge of investigating that.
All right, thank you. No further questions on board diary.
All right, State.
Just one couple questions, Your Honor. This list that I made and provided you this morning is a true and accurate copy of what you provided me regarding the evidence on this case, correct?
Yes, that is the CyberTipline.
No further questions, Your Honor. At this time, the state would like to admit State's Exhibit 1 evidence.
Any objection?
It's prejudicial, Judge, under Rule 403 of the Texas Rules of Evidence.
All right, that objection will be overruled. The court has joined a balancing test, and the court is going to find that it's more probative than prejudicial. State's Exhibit number 1 is admitted.
Your Honor, may I please approach the court with the computer?
Yes.
I'm not sure if defense wants to be up there too.
All right, if you'll approach.
Okay, thank you, Judge.
And defense, have you had a chance to view State's Exhibit number 1?
Well, I had an expert do that, Judge.
Okay. All right, if you'll bring the computer forward.
And the state would like to also state that defense did come to my office and did review all the evidence that we had that I was unable to physically hand it to them.
And to the court, State's Exhibit number 1 is going to end up being under seal. This means due to the confidential nature. And I'm assuming it's child pornography.
Correct, Your Honor.
And so that is the reason why it'll be under seal.
Oh, then yes, I did view those.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm only going to show the court a couple of them for me. Which one? I'm sorry. It's. Just let the court know I'm going into CyberTip 88103-666 on the desk.
Number 8, not A as in alpha.
Yeah, 8.
Thank you, Doc.
And the first one I will be showing the court is the last part of it, because it is long. It is 2018-12-11 14.01.56 MP4.
Yes, and the court is viewing State's Exhibit number 1. All right, thank you very much.
Number 2 is the last of it, Lety, L-E-T-Y .wmv.mp4. P4. Patty and P4. Can you just say can you give the court a brief description of the ending of it?
Yes, ma'am. During the video, it is apparent that the adult male is penetrating the genitals of the female child, and at the end of the video, it's a little over 3 minutes long. You can hear her crying and sobbing about the encounter.
Next one is E, last part of it's 85E19 NP4. And the last one I'm gonna show the court, is gonna be 24607-361 MP4. Okay. Can you tell the court how
I'm sorry,
many?
give me 1 second.
Okay,
Again,
sorry.
I'm switching mics so I can hear you better.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Can you please tell the court how many videos was on this first cyber tip?
I believe it was about 15 videos,
Any pictures?
two images.
Okay. And the ones I showed the court, you used those ones specifically for your warrant, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Regarding your investigation, is there anything else you did in regards to your investigation?
Once everything was submitted, and it was just on the 5 warrants of arrest that we obtained for Mr. Nicholas. And then upon completion of forensics, I reviewed the forensics report from Sergeant Greer.
And upon your review of Sergeant Greer's report, he's here to testify, but you did provide evidence to myself of more child pornography.
Yes, I did.
And in your training experience, the videos that I did show the court, and that's on this cyber tips, with your training experience, does it meet the statute of child pornography?
Yes, ma'am.
No further questions from this witness, Your Honor.
Defense?
Thank you, Your Honor. Sergeant, do you know what a deep fake is?
Say that one more time.
A deep fake
No, sir.
video is?
No, sir.
Okay. What is your experience in training in determining whether something is actually a true picture of a child versus something a video that someone creates that looks like a child, behaves like a child, but really is not a child, a deep fake?
Those are usually patently obvious when you view them.
Okay, so you are aware of what a deep fake is.
I had never heard it called that.
Okay, what would be a better word that maybe I can learn?
I've heard we've had cases where it's CGI,
Okay,
and those are obviously created by individuals who have experience in making those types of videos.
okay,
And then you have your legitimate video files.
okay. Isn't it true there's a database, law enforcement database, where you can take suspected child pornography and try to look through the database and actually identify the person that is depicted in the picture or the video?
There are databases. There's CVIP, which is Crime Victims Identification. Once we completed the investigation, and forensics is completed on that investigation, we send our forensics examiners complete a disc called a CVIP disc. We send that off to the National Center for Missing and Exploiting Children. Those can be identified if, in fact, the child in the video has been identified. That's not always the case, meaning the child hasn't been identified before, but it doesn't negate the fact that at the time the video was created, that it was a child.
Okay, so for the cyber tips that we're talking about, were you or anyone in your in your unit or in the Attorney General's office, or someone who worked with you at the Attorney General's office, did that type of analysis? Did y'all do that type of analysis? Did you go to the database and try to figure out, who is this person? Is it a real person? And oh yeah, it is, because we have them in this database.
That report was sent upon completion of forensics. Yes, we sent a report to the National Center for Missing Exploited Children. And if memory serves, I want to say they've identified like 2 or 3 groups where the actual child victim has been identified in the video. But again, that's not a be all that ends all that determines if that is a video of child pornography or not.
Okay. All right. Well, what about this technology that's really rearing its head? Artificial intelligence, Chat GPT.
Never heard of it.
You've never heard of it?
No,
Artificial intelligence?
I've heard of artificial intelligence, but you used an acronym after that I'm not familiar with.
Okay. Chat GPT is an artificial intelligence program where you can tell a program what to do and it will actually do it. Are you familiar with that?
I'm not familiar with it. I'm sure it exists.
And what is your educational background of your knowledge in the area that you're talking about?
Of identifying children.
Yes.
Well, I am a father. I raised children. I've raised a little girl. I have 24 years of law enforcement experience. I was a computer forensics examiner back in the early 2000s, investigating child pornography cases at a former agency I used to work for. And I have worked these types of cases for the last almost 3 years now.
Okay. And so how do you test to see if the images you're looking at are either deep fakes or created by artificial intelligence? How do you do that?
I can view them and tell that they don't appear to be fake at all.
Okay. Is there a scientific way to determine if this is a picture of a real human being or not?
I'm not aware of one, but again, I have experience in viewing the videos and can tell that it's a real video with a real child victim.
Okay. I guess what I'm really asking is, do you have a background in computer science and things that are going on in the computer world?
Nothing current, no, sir.
Okay.
Other than just knowledge and experience of the different applications and things like that, but a technical background into the computer side of things, no, I don't claim to be anything up to date as far as the technical aspects of programs and software that do different things like that.
Okay. No further questions.
Just a couple, Judge. You've seen CGI, correct?
Yes,
And you've seen real child pornography, correct?
yes,
How many images of it do you think you have seen?
thousands.
And with your training experience, was this CGI?
No,
No further questions, Your Honor.
No further questions.
All right, this witness excused and subject to recall.
The state has no further questions from it. We would like to ask for him to be excused.
No objection.
Or did I ask them a few spelling questions just real quick?
Yes.
The street name?
it's Owl, O-W-L, tree, T-R-O-W-L, like that.
Owl.
Yes, ma'am. Tree, T-R-E-E.
And then there was one person who had something.
Baltazar Luby, B-A-L-T-A-Z-A-R L-U-B-Y. Yes, ma'am.
The rule has been invoked. That means that you can't discuss your testimony with anyone. The only persons you're allowed to speak to are attorneys for the state or the defense.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
State, call your next witness.
The state calls Sergeant Hillary Lyon. That's Lyon.
You raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, you can have a seat. Make sure you keep your voice up. State your name for the record.
Hillary Lyon,
All right, state.
Thank you. Sergeant Hillary Lyon, who do you currently work for?
Texas Attorney General's Office,
Okay, and what unit do you work for?
the Child Exploitation Unit,
How long have you been working for the child exploitation unit?
a year and a half.
And before that, where did you work?
The Texas Commission on Law Enforcement, and prior to that, Tyler Police Department,
And how long have you been in law enforcement?
since 2007.
And you were in court earlier when the defendant pled true to his MTR, is that correct?
That's correct.
And you heard him plead true to having us unauthorized cell phones, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Did you were you present on December 6th for the search warrant?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, of 2022. Did you write a supplement?
No, ma'am.
Okay, why didn't you write a supplement?
Normally, depending on our job on the search warrant, we usually aren't required to do so, depending on our job there. On this particular case, Steve's case, or Sergeant O'Neill's case, I was assigned search initially. And then when we discovered the cell phone, it would not hook up to Celebrite, which is our machine that we use to essentially dump the phones,
So
preview the phones.
So your unit actually brings the Celebrite unit out, computer out to the scene.
Yes,
Okay.
our unit normally does that. Yes.
Okay, and you try when the phone was found, you try to hook it up to the Celebrite,
I didn't, but yes, one of the members of our team did. Yes.
and you said it was not able to be downloaded on scene.
Correct.
So when it was not able to be downloaded, what did you do?
We had to do a manual preview of the phone.
And can you please explain to the court what a manual preview is?
Basically, holding the phone, we record it on another device, usually our state phones, and manually open up the gallery photos on the cell phone in question and go through the videos and photos in the gallery,
And why do you do that?
just to see what is on the device itself.
And did you do that this day?
Yes, ma'am.
And when you conducted the live preview of the phone, what did you preview yourself?
Several videos and images that were on the device in the gallery.
What kind of images on the device?
Nude images and videos of adult and child females.
Okay, so he had adult and child females on his phone.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you stated you recorded it, correct?
Yes.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. I'm about to hand you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 2. Do you recognize this?
Yes.
And what is this?
This is the copy of a live preview that I conducted on that date.
And did you have a chance to look at it?
I did.
Okay, and this is an accurate copy of the live preview that you conducted on that day?
It is.
Has it been altered in any way?
No, ma'am.
And, hold on, let me get back over here. And you know, this is the disc that you looked at because did you initial it and put your badge number on it?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And then you've also you viewed it this morning, correct?
I did.
At this time, Your Honor, the state would like to admit State's Exhibit 2.
Any objection?
Can we approach, well, I don't know that we need to approach, Judge. Our agreement was that the state would not pursue the allegations of new number ones. In fact, they dropped them in the motion to enter adjudication of guilt. And now they're spending all their time going on the allegations that they dropped.
I don't know what your agreement was with the state.
You're in agreement what we
I mean,
demanded.
and here's the thing, my understanding is that an agreement that's reached, unless it's going to be placed before the court, it's supposed to be confidential, whatever your negotiations are. But if there was a specific plea bargain agreement amongst you that said the state would not be presenting evidence with regards to the viewing of child pornography, then the court will hear that.
Well,
And Your Honor, that was not the case, Your Honor. And what we are presenting the courts is what was on his unmonitored smartphone that he had in his possession, and the fact that he in individual items that goes to the honey badger name that also had child pornography regarding the CyberTipline.
Counsel, you did plead true to the moniker of honey badger in the motion to revoke.
that's true. That's true. And so I don't know why we're screwing it up.
I mean, it's the state has filed a motion to revoke. The court is here to hear whatever anyone wants to hear. I will let both parties know that I know that Mr. Nichols has pled true to these allegations.
Okay, thank you.
So I'm aware of that. All right, let's take a short recess. Do we need us?
I have no further questions for this witness, Your Honor.
Defense, any questions?
No, Judge.
All right, thank you. The rule has been invoked, but that means you can't discuss your testimony with anyone. The only person you're allowed to speak to are attorneys for the state of defense. All right, state, any other witnesses?
The state has no further witnesses at this time.
Defense, any witnesses?
Yes, Judge, we've called Martha Nicholas. I'll go get her.
Thank you. Go ahead. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth so help you God? All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record, please.
Martha Nicholas.
All right, defense.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ma'am, could you please introduce yourself to the judge and spell your full name?
Judge, my name is Martha Nicholas, MarthaNicholas. I'm Jonathan's mother,
Okay. And how old is Jonathan?
37.
How old?
37.
Okay. Pull that microphone a little bit closer to you. All right. All right. Do you have any other children besides Jonathan?
I do not. He's my only son.
Okay. Did he go to school?
Yes, he did.
How far did he go in school?
He has college. He has an associate's in surgical tech.
Pull the microphone a little bit.
He does have college, yes.
All right. Okay. Does Jonathan have any serious health problems?
He does. Just recently, this past year, he got COVID, and he was sick for a couple of weeks, and then it developed into pneumonia, to where we had to take him to the hospital. Jonathan does have severe sleep apnea, and so we were concerned about that. And while he was in the hospital, it was determined that he had heart failure.
Okay.
He also does have hypertension, high blood pressure, and he is diabetic.
Okay. What type of diabetes? Type 1 or type 2?
The thing is that he's not on insulin or anything like that. It was in when I took him to his primary care doctor that she noticed that his blood sugar was high. So I have a letter where she states what she treated him for.
Okay. Now, after your son was arrested and placed in the jail, there were very high bonds set. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
About $500,000 in bonds, something like that?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And with his health conditions, tell the judge about your contact with the jail in trying to get him medication or other medical devices, and whether or not it was a struggle.
Okay. Yes, it was a struggle. I tried to get him his CPAP, which he needs.
What is a
A
CPAP?
CPAP is a breathing device
Okay.
that he uses while he sleeps. It took maybe 6 days, I believe, to get that to him. When I was in contact with the nurses at the jail, we talked about the medications that he was on. And
What medications was he on?
I also have a list of that, but he was taking Entresto for his heart, which was my concern.
Why?
Because they weren't able to get him that. And he specifically has to have that medication. They gave him another medication.
Who's they?
The nurses there, the physician assistant, the PA at the jail.
Okay.
Entresto. They gave him Farxiga or something has to do with kidney failure and another medication to take its place. And I realized that when he did come out on bond 30 days later, he was not feeling well. I had to take him to the cardiologist. So the medication he had for those 30 days was not enough.
Not enough to what?
To sustain him. I mean, it has to do with his weight and other issues.
Right.
So he was feeling tired. He was having trouble breathing. He would walk short distances and have trouble breathing.
Okay. All right. So did you see a decline in his health while he was in jail?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
I did talk to one of the nurses there, and I told her specifically we had just gotten the prescription for that medication.
For that
And-
Entresto?
Entresto, and it's
What is that for?
It's for heart failure.
Okay.
And it's a very expensive medication. I hadn't opened the prescription. I could have had the prescription sent over directly. And she said, no, ma'am. She goes, we don't do that. She said, this is the county. You'll get what you get.
All right. So what medication, if you remember, did they end up giving her? Did end up giving the
Farxiga,
jail to give to Jonathan?
Farxiga was one of them.
Okay.
I wrote them down. I do have them at home, and I wrote down the nurse that gave it to him,
Okay.
their name.
All right. Was he also, before he went to jail, did he have regular doctor visits with his cardiologist?
The heart failure we didn't discover until he went to the hospital for COVID and pneumonia. It ended up not being that. It ended up being fluid in his heart that was causing him to to drown in that. That's what was causing the gurgling sound in his lungs.
Okay. Was he also being prescribed medication for his cholesterol?
Yes,
Okay. Does he have high cholesterol?
yes.
What about, let's go back to his heart for a second. Did he have a catheter for his heart?
They would not put the catheter in until he lost a little bit of weight. Because he
who's
could
they?
code, the doctor, the cardiologist,
Okay.
because he can code
Not the one at the jail, but,
at the hospital.
okay. All right. So does he need, according to the doctor advice, does he need a catheter for his heart?
Yes, he does.
Okay. And what's going to happen if he doesn't get that?
He'll have heart failure and die.
All right. Was he also supposed to be taking water pills to help him get rid of
Yes.
the excess fluids in his
Yes.
body?
Yes.
All right.
Until he finishes the question.
And so when I hear the phrase heart failure, I'm thinking, like, if something doesn't get done, he's going to die, or someone's going to die, or get very, very ill, shorter than later. Is that, if that's accurate?
It is accurate. His heart is operating anywhere between 35 and 45%.
And even when he got out of jail, did that percentage go up or go down, or is it staying the same, the 35, 45%?
I wasn't told by the doctor exactly. We didn't know how much time he had. So I took him just to get him checked out and get a letter from him saying that he was treated at the hospital and in his office.
Okay. So, did he get COVID in 2022 or 2021?
I believe it was 21.
Okay. And how serious did that virus affect him?
He may have been really sick about 2 months. But like I said, he does have a breathing apparatus at night. And so we thought it was that.
You thought it was what?
It was his sleep apnea. And
Okay.
it was not. He had full-blown pneumonia and he had fluid from his heart that was making him drown at night when he had that breathing apparatus on.
Okay. Now, you understand that your son is charged with some very serious charges,
I do,
correct?
correct.
What would you like to tell the judge as far as what she should do in this case? I mean, he's admitted to violating certain conditions of his community supervision, his probation, deferred adjudication, and now he has some new cases. What would you like to tell the judge to please do?
I would like to tell her that
Well, tell her.
no mother wants their son to die in prison. And if there's anything that I can do to help him, he needs help. I want the opportunity to do that for him. I love my son. He's my only son. I need him to help me, to support our home. It's just me and him. And I'm asking the court for mercy and to be lenient.
Thank you. No further questions. They may have some questions. for you.
Thank you. You heard your son earlier, admit to having an unauthorized cell phone, correct?
Did I hear him
Yeah,
earlier?
you pled true to having an unauthorized
Oh,
cell phone.
yes, yes, correct.
How did that cell phone get in your room, in your drawer?
I believe he put it there.
And how long did he have that cell phone for?
Cell phone was not his. The cell phone is an extra phone we had in the house. The phone, probation, the phone number they have on record is my cell phone. Only where I worked, I was not allowed to take that cell phone in. So when probation would call, they would leave a couple of messages on my voicemail where they needed to talk to Jonathan.
So I'm talking about the cell phone that they retrieved
Mhm.
from your, during the search warrant, from your room. You're saying, he must have put it there, but it wasn't his.
Right, we didn't buy it for him. I didn't buy it for him.
But he had access to it, correct?
Yes, ma'am, it was in my house, yes.
Earlier, a minute ago, defense, talked about his high bonds. Remember, he had high bonds? And do you remember, me asking you some questions during the bond hearing?
Yes,
And do you remember me asking some questions in regards to him not having access to any kind of phones in the house?
no, ma'am.
So you don't recall you stating that he wasn't going to be able to have any access to any additional
Oh,
phones?
that I made that comment, yes,
Okay.
that's correct.
But then after he was released on bond, when probation came to the house on March 2nd, 2023, he pled true to it today. He had some more devices that he wasn't supposed to have, isn't that correct?
He has a flip phone that he has registered with probation.
But do you remember on the day when probation came, they took 2 more devices?
Those devices were looked at when they came the first time and they left them behind. When they came to search my house, they looked at those devices and they left them behind.
But probation on the day in March of this year, they took those devices, correct?
They did,
Okay.
yes, ma'am.
And you heard him plead true that he was around them when he wasn't supposed to be around devices.
There were
again.
devices that were, one was a broken phone. The other one was a notebook that it's so old, I don't even think it turned on anymore.
And you stated you wanted the court to have mercy and give him a second chance.
Yes,
No mother would want their child to die in prison.
yes.
But would you agree that no mother will want their child to be victimized over and over and over again by individuals?
I agree.
And would you agree that videos of child pornography, victims are being, these little girls, little boys are being victimized every time someone watches it?
I do not agree. I don't think they're being victimized. I do not. If it's a video,
So you think it's okay for him to
they were
watch?
victimized the first time it was done, and whoever did that, I do not agree that that's correct. That's a good thing. No,
So you think it's okay for your son to look at
No.
child pornography?
no, it's not.
No further questions from this witness, Your Honor.
Just a brief redirect, Judge, if I may.
Yes.
Now, your son, Jonathan, was on deferred adjudication for the online solicitation of a minor, right?
Correct.
Okay. Was he actually talking to a minor or to an undercover police officer?
An undercover police officer.
Okay. Does Jonathan have a driver's license?
He does.
Does, can he drive?
He can.
Right. Does he have a car?
He does not.
Right. So what vehicle does he drive if
I
he,
have two vehicles under my name and he doesn't drive either one. Like I said before, he has severe sleep apnea. So he dozes off and then he has a heart condition. So I would not let him drive my vehicles.
okay.
He doesn't have access to the keys to my vehicles. He's not on my insurance. He's also taking now medication for his heart.
Oh, let me ask you this. Is there any internet available in your home?
No,
Okay, why not?
it was ordered by the court.
Okay. And has that order been followed?
Yes, it has.
All right, so during the answering the questions from the prosecutrix, that when the search warrant was executed on your home, they left 2 phones behind, correct? The one was broken and the other one was just inoperable. Is that
Not two
correct?
phones, one phone and
One-
one notebook.
Okay, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
it's a little
One
tablet.
phone.
Yes,
Sorry to talk over you. One phone
And a
and
notebook.
one notebook, correct?
correct.
And so do you know how old those devices are approximately?
They're more than 10 years.
Okay. Why do you keep them around? They don't work.
I didn't know how to dispose of them, so I just kept them. I mean, they were in a drawer. They were put away
Okay. Whose drawer were they put
in my
away in?
desk drawer in my bedroom.
Okay. All right. Is Jonathan able to work?
He's able to work. It would have to be something inside, something that was not labor intensive.
Now, as part of his him being on deferred adjudication probation, was he required to go to something called the STOP program?
Yes, STOP, stop.
Okay. And that is that a program where they do what they can to help people who are found guilty of sex-related crimes?
That is correct.
Okay. And I don't know if you remember all the meetings, but how many times a week would he have to go and participate in the treatment?
Once a week,
Okay. Would you take him there?
every time.
All right. Okay. After he was getting help, did you see any changes in him?
Good changes, yes. I was under the understanding everything was good. He always had positive conversation after his counseling.
And if the court were to continue him on deferred, continue him on probation, would you do anything and everything, including an extra mile, or do over and above what was required to make sure that your son complies with all the conditions that are set by the judge?
Absolutely.
I don't know what's going to happen at the end of this hearing. Oh yeah, and as a condition of bond, was he ordered to wear an electronic monitor device, a GPS device?
Yes,
Were there ever any violations of that device?
none whatsoever.
And where you live, Jonathan lives with you, correct?
Yes.
So, does he go outside and play with kids or anything like that?
No.
Okay. Does he have visitors that come over to the house that are children?
No.
How bad would it break your heart if today was the last day you got to hold your son?
It would break me, sir.
Nothing further.
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
All right, thanks for coming in to testify. All right, any other witnesses? Defense?
No, Judge.
State, any other witnesses?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor, just closing.
All right, the court has heard the plea of truth. The court is going to find the defendant guilty. Does anybody want to speak towards punishment? State, what are you requesting?
Your Honor, this particular client stays asking for 20 years due to the fact that he was, oh, sorry, it's a habit.
You saw my stare, did you?
Yes, I did. I felt it. Due to the fact that the defendant was already on probation for a child case, he's already a registered sex offender. He was in sex offender program with probation. And obviously none of this is working, Your Honor. And now we're here for more serious offenses regarding child pornography that he was in possession of, Your Honor.
So state, you're asking for 20?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense, what are you requesting?
Thank you, Judge. I've come to know Jonathan and his mom, and these are the type of cases that really hit me, because I know the system is geared
No.
against him. I'm not saying you are, Judge, but I know that anytime you talk about children, it just gets everybody's back bowed, and they just want to throw people away, and lock them up and throw away the key. I don't know how long if he gets revoked, I don't know how long he's gonna stay alive in the prison system. And so what I would ask is that you continue him on deferred.
No, he's not going to be continued. I've already found him guilty. So the only question is how much time he's going to receive.
Okay. Well, we'd ask for no more than 5 years.
All right, anything you wish to say, Mr. Nicholas?
No.
All right. As previously stated, the court is finding you guilty. The court will sentence you to 20 years in the prison, give you credit for any time served, and there's Chapter 62 registration. Showing you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it, and did you sign it?
No.
All right. You do have a limited right to appeal. That right to appeal is as it relates to the allegations in the motion, not the fact that you were on deferred adjudication. Good luck to you, Mr. Nicholas. All right, the parties on AJ Delgado. I think they're going to.
Okay. Your trial's not-